I've talked about the trade website in the past. I made quite a few videos. A few days ago, I released one video about the trade website and how to use it at Lickstart. And because I think the trade website is so important and everybody should learn how to use it, I'm going to make yet another video. This is going to be with examples of items that you can craft by searching them on the trade website. Now, these items are going to be a bit expensive. They're not going to be your typical 1 to 5 chaos items that you can upgrade your character after finishing the campaign. But if you apply what I'm going to teach you here, you can get very good items that are far, far cheaper than if you were to craft them from zero. So let's go over the examples. I just have a few examples here and I'm going to show them to you. The first example would be the gloves for the temple. Hopefully you can see. So the 3 temple modifiers on gloves are going to be increased damage with hits against shield enemies, against burning enemies, and against shocked enemies. In general, people only care about the increased damage with hits against shield enemies. The builds that use increased damage with hits against shield enemies in general, they want to have attack speed on their gloves. And something else. Maybe they want suppression, cold some resistances, maybe they want chaos resistance. So what you can do, you can search for a pair of gloves that has one of these modifiers. It doesn't matter which one. And maybe they have increased attack speed, for example. If you go to Craft of Exile, you can see that the only chaos modifier here is going to be chaos resistance. And the only speed modifier, it's going to be increased attack speed. So what you can do if you have a pair of gloves like this, so for example, you search one that has, let's just say, suppression. Now let's search for any, this is on standard. And now you also want an empty suffix or a crafted suffix like this. So what I do with this pair of gloves, I do this. I buy this pair of gloves. Then I'm looking to not have influences. I guess I forgot to say here. Not. It's important that it does not have any influence because look at this pair of gloves. You pay 1 chaos for it. You then use the Eldritch currency on this pair of gloves. You remove 1 prefix. I think it's better to show it on Craft of Exile. So let's just say that it has fire. This fire. It had spell suppression. Oh, this is another base. Anyway, let's just say that it has chaos resistance. And let's say that it has 3 prefixes like this. What you can do at this point, you can use Eldritch Crafting. Give a Searing Exarch, you annul. Now it will remove a prefix, it will not touch the suffixes. You can go to the Benchcraft. You can craft suffixes cannot be changed like this. And now you go to Harvest and you are going to reforge speed. The only speed modifier is attack speed. It's a 1 in 4 chance that it gives you tier 1. Now if you're satisfied with this, then cool. What you can do at this point, if you don't like the prefixes, you want to get a +2 AoE, or I don't know, whatever you want. You can just craft suffixes cannot be changed with Wild Bristol Matron, which is at least that will probably be around 40 kills. And you can basically keep the suffixes, and here you see that it has fire resistance, fire damage against added fire damage against burning enemies. If you go to the harvest and you change the fire resistance to cold resistance, it will give you the modifier with shield. So if now I would go to harvest and change the fire resistance to cold resistance, so let's just see that we remove this. This is what would happen to our items. And this roll increased damage will be changed every time you change the resistance. So now if it gives you 30% increased damage with hit, you can go to the harvest once again. You can change it to fire or lightning depending on what seeds are cheapest. Then you can change it back to cold until you hit the roll that you're happy with. It's a 1 in 4 to get tier 1. So you can definitely see, so you just pay 5 to 10 kills for this, 2 divines for the craft, and maybe 1 or 2 divines to finish your prefixes depending on what you want. Especially at Lickstart, it's quite easy to craft gloves like this. People usually would fracture this modifier with a high roll. They would pay like 3 to 4 divines for the gloves with the high roll, and then 1 in 4 to fracture them. So instead of doing that, you can do this. It's much cheaper. As I said, it's not a cheap craft, but it's cheaper than if you were to craft it from zero. This is one way you can use the trade website. Another way would be to buy a ring. So instead of this, I guess, needs to be an amethyst ring. I think I forgot. It works anyway, even if it's not an amethyst string. It works with this as well. But I think it was supposed to be an amethyst string. It's not, so maybe 90. It's on online only. I forgot, I need to put it on any. So you can buy a ring like this. Look, you pay 3 or 20 chaos. If it has an empty, if you wanted to search for an empty prefix, you can do it with a count. Or you can risk it and just annul it. Maybe it works. Like this. So you pay maybe 30 kills, maybe 40 kills for a ring like this. And what you can do, let's show you on the craft of Exile. Restart. Create new item. So let's just say that it has tier 1, tier 2, and tier 1 chaos. So if it has one empty prefix or a crafted prefix, you go to the Bestiary Wild Bristol Matron, you'd craft suffixes cannot be changed, pay like 40 or 50 chaos at Lickstart. Then you use a Veiled Chaos Orb. Now this is not guaranteed it's going to work, but it's a high chance it's going to work. Craft mana, Unveiled, there's a like 75% chance to give maximum life like this, and then you craft non-channeling skills, have minus total mana cost like this. And at this point, what you can do, you can use a Conqueror Exalted Orb, or maybe you can just use a basic Exalted Orb in the hopes that it gives you increased elemental damage with attacks. Anyway, you just pay like 10, 15, 20 kills for a ring like this. Maybe even if you pay 100 kills is worth. Even if you pay 200 kills is worth, because such a ring like this one would be worth like 10 divines. There you have it, 10 divines. Then you pay like what, 50 to 60 kills at Lickstart to craft it, and there's like a 70% chance of success. Let's go over body armors. At Lickstart, what you can do, Let's show you craft of Exile first. So there's this thing called vol implicits. As you can see here, you have +2 AoE, aura, curse duration, and I'm going to give the example of Cold Dot. So in my case, if I want to play Cold Dot, I can search for a body armor that has +2 AoE, +2 duration, like this. Let's see what we have. Let's search for any, and you'd see you would get a bunch of these results. What you can do at this point, you can look for one that has maybe 6 sockets, see what you have. If not, then you are going to craft it with tainted currency. Maybe if you don't want any unique, so if you don't want any unique because maybe it can ruin your build, you can select it here from any non-unique like this and see what we have. So with 6 sockets, there are 2 divines. If we remove the sockets, because you can craft the sockets on your bench. So if you remove the sockets, there are going to be 2 divines the cheapest. This is on standard. Maybe you can use a unique, who knows. And here you can see that they are much cheaper, and probably this body armor would be good, but this would be quite difficult to color it. And then you use a tainting currency. For example, you make four sockets from the benchcraft, because at the benchcraft you can modify the sockets and the links. It's going to take a Val Orb and a jeweler or a fusing, depending on what it requires. Then you can make it 4 sockets, then use tainted jeweler's orbs, and then tainted orb of fusing. You make it 4 link from your benchcraft, and then you have to win the 50-50 2 times in a row, and you can get a 6 link. And this is a +2 to your main spell. For example, since I'm playing Cold Dot, this would be a +2, +4 to both Creeping Frost and Vortex, which is huge DPS. As I said, it's not going to be quite cheap, but you can definitely see that you can create a very, very good piece of gear by abusing the trade website. Let's continue. So now boots. Boots with elemental resistances, some chaos resistance, and chance to suppress spell damage. Let's search, see what we have, select any, because we don't want... And at this point you don't care if they have an empty prefix or an open prefix or an empty prefix. You can say here you want a note and say has influences like this, because you want to use Eldritch currency on them. So you would buy the cheapest piece of gear, the cheapest pair of boots, for example this one at 30 chaos. Now this is already crafted, but I'm assuming you can purchase a pair of boots like this one right here. No, this one is not, because it has this implicit. This pair of boots here, you can buy it, then go to Craft of Exile. Going to show you real quick in the emulator. So let's just say that it has tier 1 cold, tier 1 suppress, and tier 1 chaos like this. And if it has full prefixes, it doesn't matter, because you're going to use Eldritch currency, use an ember like this. Now you're going to use Eldritch Orb of Annulment to remove one prefix, and at this point you can use Wild Bristol Matron. Craft suffixes cannot be changed. At leak start is going to be like 40-50 chaos, not going to be expensive at all, like this. Veiled Chaos Orb, and unveil, I don't know what you needed to unveil. I guess it was, you need to craft mana or HP, I guess is what you needed to craft to make sure to unveil movement speed, but it's almost guaranteed to give you movement speed. like this. Then you craft maximum life. Like this. I mean, needs to be crafted. And at this point, if you want, you can, yeah, I think you're just going to use an Exile Slam like this. And there's your, this is a pair of boots. A pair of boots like this would be like 4 to 5 divines. So instead of paying 4 to 5 divines, you pay like 100 chaos or maybe 200 chaos. Similar story to the gloves. I'm not going to do it, but basically you can do the same thing. Search for a pair of gloves. Obviously, if you just lower these values a little bit, you're going to get items that are good. So you lower these values a little bit. You buy this pair of gloves. I mean, and you apply the same. You apply the same thing. Eldritch Currency, Eldritch Orb of Annulment to remove a prefix, while Bristol Matron suffixes cannot be changed with Chaos Orb. And maybe you want +2 AoE. Who knows? Maybe you want something from Harvest and you're going to reforge for a certain prefix. You can do that for gloves as well. Maybe if you want gloves for Righteous Fire, you search for a pair of gloves that has life regeneration, chaos resistance, and regenerate life per second. And then you modify it, reforge until you hit +2 AoE and craft maximum life. That would be another option. Now I'm going to show you, I've made a video about this in the past. It's how to obtain a +2 amulet. Very easy. So to obtain a +2 amulet, usually you want either one empty suffix and one empty prefix, or 2 empty prefixes, and to level of all skill gems like this one. Let's search, see the cheapest one online. It's going to be 2 divines. This is a bit expensive. I mean, this one is good if you can buy it for 1 exalted orb. But if you don't find one with 2 prefixes, you can search like this. One that has 1 empty prefix and has cold, fire, or lightning damage to attacks, depending on what you need. If you want an amulet for Righteous Fire, you want +1 fire, so you search for an amulet like this. So now you can see that they're much cheaper. You're going to pay like 200 kills for such an amulet. Let's continue, see what we have. So you can also search for one that has just one empty prefix or crafted prefix, and you want one empty suffix or crafted suffix. So I mean, here you're not looking for a crafted prefix, you're looking for an empty prefix, and now you search for empty suffix, crafted suffix. Like this, let's see what we find. Empty suffix. Voila, look at this amulet. You would buy this, you pay 3 chaos or 50 chaos. Then you go to the crafting, to the craft, and I'm going to show you. So let's start. So let's just say that your amulet looks like this. At this point, you go and craft cannot roll attacks. You're going to pay 1 divine. And then you're going to add remove fire. or maybe add remove cold, add remove lighting, depends on what you need. And there's like 80% chance of success. Now we got unlucky and it removed the +1, but most of the time you're going to get the +2. Obviously this is not a true endgame amulet, but it's a +2 amulet. At this point, if you're happy, you can just craft suffixes cannot be changed, prefixes cannot be changed, excuse me, World Chaos Orb if you really want it. But if not, and you're just happy with spending like 2 to 3 divines to make a +2 amulet with an 80% chance of success, this is how you do it, by abusing the trade website. As I said, you can get creative with these methods. There are many things you can do. I just thought to mention because these are quite important items that you're going to craft pretty much on every build, maybe except for the amulet. But most builds are going to need a ring similar to this one. Most builds are probably going to benefit from getting a +4 on their body armor. Boots, maybe not the exact same pair of boots, but boots similar crafted in this way, most builds would benefit from. The same goes with gloves, and many builds are going to use a +2 amulet.